Well, you read that title right. We're out.
Now, if you're having deja vu, you might be, because this is the second version of this video. Let me explain. So you might have seen my first video and I actually took that down. Reason why is a couple of things. So I have a design plan for this car that we're gonna go through in just a minute, but it wasn't going in the direction I wanted to go. And while most of you guys understood that, there was a few of you that actually thought I was mad at OnX or mad at the build challenge. And that's not the case at all. And that's why I decided to re-edit this thing and give you guys a little more insight on what's going on. Number one being, I use the OnX app all the time, whether I'm filming for it or just filming for myself or just exploring the stuff, because I like being able to find mines. I like being able to find properties and locations, and I used to use Google Earth all the time, which then had me overlaying different mining things and other things to try to find where I wanted to go. And now that's converted to me using the OnX Offroad app. That's the honest truth. And before all you keyboard warriors say it, this ad is 100% not sponsored by a soul, except mine. Sponsored by me. Now, with being last year's Build Challenge winner, I built the S10 in 3 months, pretty much by myself, in a much smaller garage than this. And while I had a build plan for the Pacer that was gonna be 2-wheel drive, some things changed for filming, which created expectation changes where I needed 4-wheel drive, and it was turning the build down a direction I didn't want to go. Now, you guys know that overlanding to me is kind of glorified camping in your truck. I think that overlanding is great. I love doing it, but I think there's just too many gadgets, too much money to spend to go camping. Now, does that mean I won't ever build an overlander? No, that doesn't mean that at all. What that means is I knew I could build what I wanted to build, which originally was an off-road racing Pacer. I mean, I think I already proved I can build an off-road rig that I can go camping in. Why do I need to do that again? I mean, when I started this channel, I wanted to build different things and not just continually build driving rock crawlers. Because I feel like anything that an overweighted overlander can do, I can do in a lightweight 2-wheel drive off-road racing Pacer. So that was my original build plan with this car, was to actually build a subframe for it, do a 4-link in the rear, and then do either an A-arm or a dirt scissor front end that was 2-wheel drive, that this thing could actually jump and do dirt style Baja racing with. Because I already know that Dave and Fred had built a 4-wheel drive Pacer. I've seen a Pacer that raced in dirt, but it wasn't really a jumping Pacer. Like my bird perch. So I had this magical plan, but I knew that I would need help doing it. Because if you're looking for excuses, I had a million of them. Number one, I was in the middle of starting a brand new channel. Number two, I was also in the middle of moving 5 states away in the middle of wintertime. 12 trips to get all my stuff, because I have a fleet of vehicles and a junkyard, and I'm a hoarder, and I carry a lot of stuff. I keep things that I think I'm gonna use. Like this, for instance. This is one of my many sidekicks named the Screamin' Weenie. This is a tough truck car that one day I will probably do something with. I don't have time to do anything with it yet, so it's been sitting back here and just shipping around wherever we move. And a spare transmission. And if you've been to any of my friends' shops that are probably in this build, then you would understand exactly how much stuff they have. I'm kind of in the same boat with just stuff that we collect. Because you never know when you might need that special little bolt and it's the middle of the night and all the stores are closed. Number 3, on top of putting together this shop, and then tack on all your unexpecteds, like we did not expect for me to lose my dad this summer. So that's when I made a phone call to Rory to see if Trailmater would be up for splitting this build with me. Now, Rory was all about it. I bought all the parts, I paid for all the pieces, but he actually ran out of time as well. And he has plenty of excuses that fit that need too. Mostly because Rory makes his money towing. He had a huge towing lineup that he had to deal with. Secondly, some of you might know this, some of you might not, he is actually getting married. And the way this event was set up, he was going to be getting married and his honeymoon would be during the trip that we were supposed to take this vehicle on. And I know many of us, including myself, have put work in front of family. I don't know why, but I don't know many of us that have put our wedding and honeymoon behind work. But we were still going to push through. Unfortunately, a lot of the plans had changed. Hey, got a delicious apple. So while I was planning on building a two-wheel drive race car with our max tire size being a 37-inch tall tire across the board for all the teams, things changed, rules changed, and locations changed. You see, now the event starts in Tucson, and there's tow truck competitions. We got to drive on the road. There's no tire limit. There's all kinds of things, which I don't really care about the rule changes so much. I expected a lot of that. But now there is rock crawling. There's multiple rock crawling trails, and then the vehicles go to SEMA for a week. Sheep heads. Oh, those are the worst. Got a whole bunch of them. Ow. Stuck me. Which then also created me having to figure out a way to make our car four-wheel drive. So scrambling to figure out how we're going to make the car four-wheel drive, I took my perfectly good TJ Wrangler and we chopped it up to put the car body on it. Things I forgot to edit in the last video is actually Rory and I have been out of this build for quite a while. When we talked with OnX, they let us kind of pull out of the contract, pull out of the build, and I've been building the car actually just to build it for you guys, and I've been continually going with it in the direction I don't want to go. Like, it's not the direction I want it to be. I want it to be a two-wheel drive racer. My heart wasn't in it, which honestly was making this vehicle spiral out of a direction that I wanted to build it, and it was making it not fun for me to do so, because I have a desire to build this one way, and it's starting to turn into exactly what Dave and Fred built on dirt every day, which is not what I want. And let's also face it, if I want to race fast in the dirt, you don't normally choose a Jeep 4-liter motor. I mean, I know there is Jeep speed, but this Jeep 4-liter motor is heavy, it's cast, it's not powerful. In fact, the last V8 swap I did on one many, many years ago, the cast iron Chevy 350 actually weighed 15 pounds less than that inline 6 did. So I don't really want to build it like this. I want to build it the way that we originally intended. Now, I'm not going to take it off the TJ frame. I'm going to keep it on the TJ frame, but I am going to take this drivetrain out because I don't see any reason to have a 4-liter 3-speed auto is fine and an Atlas and something that I want to go rip around on dunes with. But what this requires of me now is to reevaluate where we're at with this build. That doesn't mean I'm not going to build it. I am 100% going to build this car, but I need to reevaluate the entire drivetrain. I plan on keeping my Barnes 4-link with my trailing arms and the Ford 9-inch that I built with all the Yukon parts. Now, as far as this Ultimate Dana 44, I think I might actually put it into the Rat's Nest Cherokee because on 37s, it really doesn't need a Dana 60. And I can put this Ultimate Dana 44 in there, cut down a bunch of weight, get a little better fuel economy, and it's going to look nicer, gain clearance as well. And I haven't decided what motor and transmission to put in. Actually, for Class 2 and Score, the two major races I would like to be a part of is the Score Baja 1000 and the Nora Mexican 1000. Now, for the classes that I want to run this car in, I'm actually limited to a 3.5-liter 6-cylinder motor, which means this motor has to go anyway, and it doesn't have to be naturally aspirated. It means I could actually use your guys' help. What would you think has the most power that I could get somewhat affordably for this car? Like, I know that the Ford Raptor has a twin-turbo 3.5-liter V6, but I know the Toyota 3.4 is a pretty solid motor, and I got a lot of friends that like the Chevy Ecotec as well, or even the 2.3 Mustang motor. Either way, I could use your guys' help if you let me know down below what you guys think would be a good drivetrain going forward with this car. Also, safety regulations require that if it's under 4,000 pounds, it can be 1.75-inch tubing. If it's over 4,000 pounds, it has to be 2-inch. I really don't want to run 2-inch tubing because I want headspace. I got a very large frame, and the headspace of 1.75-inch gives me a 1/2 inch more room inside the cab. So we're probably gonna have to take a break from this build. Like I said, that doesn't mean that this build is just going off into the wind. I just need to reevaluate suspension components, parts, pieces, drivetrain, the whole kit and caboodle to build it what dream I had for this. I have built so many 4-wheel drives in my life, I wanted to build something that wasn't 4-wheel drive. When you see this car again,
I'm gonna be going in the direction I wanna build. We're gonna be having fun. It's gonna be a rad rig.
Oh look, a praying mantis with no head.
Guess that means you got lucky at least once. So if any of you are wondering right now, you will see this car again. And probably it will compete with this guy right here. If you know Matt from Matt's Off-Road Recovery, he's building a Baja Corvair.
Head-to-head competition.
So we might go side to side, Pacer versus Corvair. The Girthmobile will come back. I spoke with OnX, and I don't ever want to let any of you guys down. They're gonna let us bring the S10 in for one day to compete with everybody else. Now we're still out of competition. If you guys still vote for us, I thank every one of you that does. I would love to see our numbers go up anyway, but there are a lot of cool builds in there that I'm excited to see as well. I mean, let's be honest, I know he's out of budget, but Robbie's bread van is pretty rad. And Rudy's King Cooper, I mean, I've actually seen that in person. I think it's gonna be super cool. A coal rolling rock crawler, I'm all about that. And you know I'm always gonna expect Paul and Chad to bring it. And even Mischief Maker, getting the right people in there to help her get that Liberty together is pretty cool. You guys know that Liberties have a special place for me, because I mean, that's what me and my son put together, and that's what he drives in college right now. And let's not discount the most weirdest contraption that Matt and Josh have put together. If they're not bringing chrome paint and doing it for Valhalla, I don't know what else they're building it for. And even the winning viewer that has his 7.3 diesel powered Bronco, I really hope he names that Coal Juice, because, you know, Bronco, diesel. You have to be old enough to know that joke. A lot of you said, well, I was doing a lot of adventure videos and I wasn't working on the car, which is true. But we were out a long time ago, and most of those adventure videos were in between South Dakota and here. It's like, hey, we're doing this big trip to bring stuff down. I'll try to catch an adventure video while we're doing it. And I actually used OnX to find the trails that I was doing. So what projects do we have coming forward? Don't worry, we are gonna still build stuff. I have one right here. That is gonna be the vehicle for the Matt's Off-Road games, and you guys are gonna like the videos on that. Also, I've had a lot of you guys saying that you want to see how to build a rock buggy. The problem with a rock buggy is two things. Number one is they're pretty expensive to build. Like, parts just aren't cheap, and it costs a lot to make a good buggy. Number two is all the extras. Building a rolling chassis is why so many buggy companies do it, because that is usually the quickest part of the build. The part that kills all your time: wiring, plumbing, fuel lines, drag, you know, all of your switches, gauges, setting up your seats, your steering, all that stuff takes an exuberant amount of time. What you end up with is a bunch of videos where I spent weeks and months working on stuff, and you almost see physically no difference in that build. So to combat that, what's coming forward is a rusty truggy build. That way this thing's gonna get built on a realistic budget, and you guys are gonna be able to follow along. So I hope you stay tuned for the builds and adventures we have coming forward, but this one is gonna get parked for a bit. Like I said, it's getting in a direction I don't wanna build it, and I want to build it a way that is different. I appreciate you guys following along with this thing so far. When we return back to it, it's gonna be even better. So if you got a favorite team from the OnX Build Challenge, let me know down below. If you have some ideas for what you wanna see these next couple vehicles turn into, also comment down there, because I think that they're gonna be pretty rad. So for those of you that voted for us, I appreciate every one of you, so does Rory, but we physically and financially can't do this competition. So we will see you guys next time. This car will be back. Thanks for watching.
This is too much fun, man. We're gonna fix the Pacer.